All right, everybody. I have been meaning to do this video for quite some time, but as the cookie crumbles, sometimes we don't always get what we want when we want it, but nonetheless, here we are 2 weeks later. My name is Chrissy Smith. This is 9 Lives Energy, and together we energize your body from the inside out. And I happened to look at Ozzy Osbourne's birth chart when he passed, and me and along with some other astrologers, we like to kind of pick celebrities apart and see why they are famous or why they have certain things going on. So I'm going to pull this up here just to kind of see what is going live. I tried to do this on Instagram, but apparently I don't have enough followers in order to do that. So I'm just seeing if I'm live right now on my channels. And then we will get going. Yes. Let's see if this is being shown. All right. It looks like it is. Okay, cool. All right. So breaking down Ozzy Osbourne's birth chart. So if you would like to have an astrological birth chart reading, let me know. It is something that I'm stepping into. After 30 years of being in the health and fitness industry, I had to find another thing that I would like to do for the rest of my life, because I enjoy working. I enjoy being passionate about whatever my gifts and talents are. But these old knees, can't do all those hardcore things anymore. So we are now helping people discover themselves by helping them with their birth chart. So this is an example of something that you can see on my channel, 9 Lives Energy. Today we are breaking down the birth chart of Ozzy Osbourne. And if you get something out of this, make sure that you give me a like and a follow and comment maybe with your favorite Ozzy song. So Ozzy was born on December 3rd, 1948 in Birmingham, Birmingham. And I got this information according to astro-seek.com. Now, if you want to know what your birth chart information is, you can type that in. Make sure that you know the time, because that is going to tell us what your ascendant is. Now, this is Ozzy Osbourne's birth chart right here. And I'm going to make this just a little bit bigger, but for right now, I just want you to pay attention to these black lines right here. So the black line, if we look at the horizon when the sun is coming up, this is where the sun comes up. This is at the height of the day. This is where the sun sets, and this is at midnight. So if we were to put this on an astrological clock to where this was 6 a.m., 12 p.m., 6 p.m. and 12 a.m., we could look at it like this, okay? So when Ozzy Osbourne was born, okay, it put his sun, we can see the sun because it has this little circle with a dot in there. That is the description for the sun in astrology. And he was born in the first house, all right? So if you look at the astrology wheel, it has 12 different houses for 12 different signs. And those 12 different houses and those 12 different signs rule different things in our lives as far as personality goes, and also how we show up in the world, in what we value, how we choose relationships, best careers. So the first house, we have the second house, third house, and I'm going to just give a quick synopsis real quick for anybody who is just trying to learn astrology, because I think that this will help you just a little bit in learning your own birth chart. So I am going to go a little bit fast from this, but you can always Google astrological charts or house system, and then you can kind of see which planet, which zodiac governs each house. So the first house is our identity, okay? That is how the world kind of sees us and who we are trying to aspire to be, all right? This is our ascendant, all right? ASC, and how the world sees us, but one is what we identify in. Okay, so there's two different things. The ascendant, which is how the sun was coming up over the horizon and how the world sees you. And number one is our identity and our self. So this is governed by Aries, and is governed by the planet Mars for the first house. The second house is what we value. That is Taurus and is governed by Venus. The third house is how we communicate in our community, our siblings. That is governed by Gemini and Mercury. For the fourth house, this is our home, and it is governed by the moon and Cancer. The fifth house is entertainment and how we play and children. And this is governed by Leo and the sun. The sixth house is governed by Virgo. Also, Mercury shares this with Gemini. And the sixth house is about our habits, our work habits, our day-to-day, our routines. Our seventh house, oh, here we go again. Oh, I knew it was going to act up. Mercury in retrograde. It loves to have a little fun with me. Let me see if I can make it different. Okay, let's move it this way. All right, there we go. All right, so the seventh house, this is our relationship. So the types of relationships that we choose is on our descendant line, the DSC. So he chose relationships that were Taurus in nature and also Gemini, because this is kind of split. But they were probably going to be more Taurus in nature, meaning he wanted to find people in his life that would give him stability. That is Taurus. He wanted to find people in his life that that he could value, and people probably that could help him increase the things that he values in this life. Number 8 is about transformation and sex and death and rebirth. And this is also governed by Scorpio and the planet Pluto. Let me back up again. Seventh house is Libra and is our relationships and Venus, the things that we love. Taurus is love. Venus is love. Libra is love. The ninth house is our beliefs and is ruled by Sagittarius and Jupiter. The 10th house is ruled by Capricorn and is our career and is governed by Saturn. The 11th house is our friendship, service to humanity. That is governed by Aquarius and Uranus. And in traditional astrology, it is ruled by also Saturn. And then the 12th house, the very last house, is our dreams. It's the ending of the zodiac. And that is ruled by Pisces and also Jupiter in traditional astrology, and in modern astrology, Neptune. So that is a quick synopsis. So our ascendant, as I mentioned earlier, is how the world sees us. So the world saw him as a Scorpio. All right. And Scorpio in astrology is ruled by Pluto. And so that's death and rebirth and the darkness. If we think about Scorpio time, I love Scorpio. I love Halloween. Anybody that knows me knows I love to dress up for Halloween. And so people saw him as like this Halloween person. Now, in Nicholas Stodanovich's degree theory, I cannot pronounce his name right, Stodanovic, there we go, degree theory, he said that each of these numbers on the zodiac wheel, 0 to 29, because each of these arcs is 29 degrees, 0 to 29, not 1 to 30. And all of these together make up the whole zodiac wheel of 360 degrees. So 18 degrees is a 6th house degree governed by Virgo. 18 degrees can think about our habits, our work habits, our day-to-day. So our habits can be good and we're successful, or our habits can be detrimental. So in the degree theory, 18 degrees is the devil degree. Now that is not, to scare anybody by any means. I have some 18 degrees in my chart too. It's just things that people need to pay attention to, because it could show where you could not be your best self. And if we know some of these things, it can kind of allow us to focus some of those energies so we can improve, right? Hopefully we are here to improve and we're not still doing the same thing that we did 10 years ago, and the things that we are interested in, or the relationships that we call in. So people saw him as this dark character, 18, the devil, right? In Scorpio. So this very dark character, that's who they saw him as. Now, the first house is how you identify. And a lot of Sagittarian people or Libran people are usually rock stars, and also Leo, because those are the ones that are very creative. Rock stars, Sagittarius is higher mind, higher learning, is governed by Jupiter, so it expands. All right, it's all about expansion. So this person definitely was an expansive type person. They definitely brought about a genre of music that had never been heard before, right? And one of the things that I heard somebody say, who I follow, who is an astrologer, said that when he would start playing in some of these venues, that he would wait outside in the parking lot in case one of the openers maybe called out or a headliner called out, and then that way his band could be there to kind of cover in for those people, because his music was so new that they wanted an opportunity to be able to play. So that right there shows this person's perseverance and wanting to be able to share their music in an expansive type way. Okay, he definitely had an expansive mind. He has Mercury there. So Mercury is our mind and the mental things, how we communicate as well. So if he has this in the first house, he communicates number 5, as we talked about that degree theory. 5 is a Leo degree, which is entertainment, fun, rock stars. So he communicated in a 10. 10 degrees is the 10th house, which is our career. He communicated to the world his identity of being this dark character by being a rock star. 10, that is the 10th house. So all these numbers mean something. This possibly could have been some type of chironic wound. So he came in here because we have Chiron, which is the wounded healer in Sagittarius. Chiron to me actually represents the centaur. And so if we have a wound with being able to express ourselves expansively, we could be coming in here to this lifetime in order to heal that. And because he has that at 0 degrees, which is an anaretic degree, whenever a planet first goes into a sign, that is when it has its most energy, along with 15, which is the middle of the zodiac, and along with 29. Those are anaretic degrees. You can also throw number 1 in there as well. And we have some outer planets right now that are in those earlier degrees. So there could be some expansiveness of air type themes and fire type things, meaning I got to get this information out and I got to get it out quickly. Or I have people in the community. I have a lot of things to do in the community. So those are going to be some of the themes for the next few years about how people are choosing to get online or are choosing to be their own leaders. All right, so let's look at the 10th house. Now, the 10th house is governed by Capricorn, and it is up here at the top. So in the 10th house, he has Virgo. Virgo is our health habits. Virgo is our day-to-day. So he probably could have had very good habits or very bad habits. And he doesn't have any planets here, but what he does have on this, not on this side, but at the top of his chart, is Saturn. Saturn governs the 10th house with Capricorn. Saturn is work, hard work. Saturn is our career. Saturn is karma. Saturn is our lessons. It's like a big granddaddy or a big father who's like, if you learn the lesson, I will give you the award. And if you don't learn the lesson, well, life's going to get a little hard for you. All right. So what did he have to go through? Right. It's no secret that he had addiction problems. So some of the things that prevented him from being as successful as he could have been was his addictions. And number 8 is addictions. That is governed by the planet of death and rebirth and our addictions, Pluto, Scorpio. He also has 6 here. 6 is a Virgo degree, so he could have had some issues in his habits related to Saturnian themes on the top of his chart. The MC is our connection to God. It's like the 5th element. So we have the 4 elements: earth, air, fire, and water. And the 5th one is spirit, how we talk to God. But if we turn that, star upside down, that's not what we want to do, right? It's how we connect to God, our purpose, how our career, our beliefs. So he had some challenges definitely with his habits and his extracurricular activities. Now, I would love to see Sharon Osbourne's chart. I haven't even looked at it yet, but I wonder if she had some Gemini placements or some Taurus placements. Even though she wasn't, maybe she had a bunch of planets in Taurus, which could make her more of a Taurus. And Taurus is our stability, right? And so he called in somebody very stable, Sharon Osbourne, who helped him with his career. All right, that's the earth. That's an earth element, Taurus. And then our last earth sign is our career, is Capricorn. So if he called in Sharon, right, I heard that Black Sabbath, the manager, that was his daughter, Sharon Osbourne. And so when the band split up, kicked Ozzy out, Sharon was like, I see your potential. I'll be your manager. I've been in the business for a while, so I can kind of help you out there and show you what to do, because she had been around it her whole life. So after him calling in somebody like that, he definitely got a hold of his resources, and his resources was his talent. His North Node, which is who we are trying to be in this lifetime. Not how the world sees you, but our destiny. So even though his sun is in the Sagittarius, right, and that's how the world saw him, as a rock star, he came into this life to have stability. He did have stability at the end, right? 2 is also a Taurus degree because it's the 2nd house. So what he valued was stability in his habits. So he probably called in people to help him with his stability because he was unstable. So he definitely achieved that. Now, I want to draw your attention to this part here, or the 12th house is the South Node. If the life we are stepping into is our North Node, then the life we are coming from, or the gifts and talents that we bring into this incarnation, is the South Node and where we come from. So he came from Scorpio. Okay. He probably loved, love. Venus is our love. Venus is what we value, abundance, overflowing. Okay. And he had that at 8 degrees, which is a Scorpio degree. Now, when I see this here, he probably had a lot of transformational relationships or transformational experiences that challenged his spirituality. And because he has Venus there, he probably was overindulgent in escapism, because the 12th house is governed by Pisces. And even though it's very spiritual, not of this world, these people, Piscean people, have one foot in the physical world and one foot in the spiritual world. But maybe this physical incarnation was too hard for him, and so he wanted to escape in an abundant type way. Okay, so this is one of the challenges that he experienced here in this lifetime. Now, the earth sign is this round circle here with an X. So the earth sign, how he probably felt the world, is being a Libra. And he had a lot of relationships. Or the 11th house is our relationships. Is our friendships, all right? But our friendships that are far out and away, service to humanity. And Libra, along with Pisces, and I feel Sagittarius and Leo, are very creative signs. I feel like Libra is probably one of the most creative signs because it loves all things that are beautiful. Same with Taurus, but Libra can change a little bit, whereas Taurus is a little bit more fixed in being abundant and being comfortable. Libra, just, they might just want to jet out and they just don't talk to you and they just detach. That way they don't want to work on relationships. And he probably had an issue with detachment in his friendships. And the reason that I say that is because he has that at 18 degrees. Instead of working and being the balancer, he just tried to escape probably and detach from relationships, so he didn't get too comfortable with some of those people. But maybe one of the things that he learned to overcome, Neptune is governed by Pisces and is the 12th house, and it is the most creative sign, or planet. And so he probably had a lot of relationships that were Neptunian in nature that helped him be creative. 14 degrees is resources. These relationships that he had that were very creative in nature helped him be creative. These are the types of friendships that he had. Some of these friendships were probably yucky friendships, and they made him escape Neptune, 14 degrees, what he valued. This was some of the people that he had in probably the beginning of the entertainment business were shady characters, but he learned to overcome that by calling in more stable people, not people that were going to feed into his addictions. Now up here at the top, I'm going to go over this one last, and then I will go over the 10th house of career, and also show you how that ties into astrology and how the different houses govern not only our career, but what we value in this lifetime based upon the Lord's Prayer, because that astrology is in that. So Uranus is shocks and surprises and sudden change, and it's almost like the weird uncle. So he has the weird uncle at 29 degrees. And as I mentioned earlier, 29 degrees is an anaretic degree. So that is the most energy of. So he has a lot of shocks and surprises and quick, sudden changes in the 8th house of transformation. And some of these could be friendships or in the community. He basically, Gemini can be two people. Right. I have Jupiter in Gemini at 29 degrees. So I also have had a lot of experiences, different experiences where I could be two people. Right. One person behind the scenes, one person in front of the camera, one person teaching a class, one person on the weekends. So Gemini can be two people. It can be two-faced. But one of the things that that Gemini does is it can learn a lot, and they are very quick. All right, so he had a lot of quick and sudden type changes that affected maybe his home and how he emotionally dealt with things. And so that was one of the things that he was able to heal here. And if we see this red line here, anytime we see a red line, these are just challenges in our chart. And the blue lines are positive aspects, but sometimes those positive aspects can be over the top in a different way. Okay. For example, somebody can be too creative and then they don't get anything done because they're too creative, right? So just because someone shows good aspects along with that has some challenges. So Uranus is in opposition of Jupiter, which expands whatever house or sign that it's in. He also has Mars here that it is opposing, and the moon. Okay. And so with this, there could be moon is our emotions. So we already saw that Cancer, which governs the moon, is opposing the moon here. So that's some tension there. Having addiction issues, maybe dealing with our emotions. Mars in Capricorn, I like that placement. But Mars in Taurus could mean that I am going to be a pioneer, or I am going to be the leader, and I'm not going to show you my emotions, especially in business. Now he has Jupiter there, which is the planet of expansion. So the planet of expansion is expanding his second house of resources. Jupiter is also expanding Capricorn. Capricorn is our career. So if we look up here, see this blue line going up here? So because of these because he was able to transform, okay, he was known by the community and loved in his home and known around the world, okay, friends around the world that gave him emotional stability. And this is making a positive line to his career, having good routines in his career. That's how he transformed his life. But this is what I wanted to save for last. So the 9th house is our beliefs. Why do you believe what you believe? It's spirituality, travel, airplanes. I would say these people probably like adventure or like adrenaline rush. People that have a lot of Sagittarius type placements, or if this house is full with planets, that means this person probably has adrenaline junkie issues. They want to see what happens if they do something. Now he has Leo here. So Leo is entertainment, being seen publicly, bravery, over the top, dramatic. And what I loved about him, a lot of people thought that, oh, he's dark. And I saw some of the videos after he died where he was being interviewed, and some of the things that he said, you know what, I can't help what people are doing with my music. He said, if they want to listen to that, you know, and they want to do whatever, that's their business. He said, but I'm just here to make some music. I'm not here to, you know, be some type of satanic worshiper. And you could see that in his music. I never saw the imagery or the symbolism like I did with other bands that I followed. I look at a lot of stuff, folks. And once you see it, you can kind of see that person's controlled, or I know who they, you know, report to. But I never really saw that in his videos, because he was just over the top and being so dark, and just, it was funny. It was almost like he was laughing at the devil in his face. Because Pluto, the planet of death and rebirth, is governed by Scorpio. And he has that at 16 degrees, meaning the home. So he could have, the sun is governed by Leo, and the moon is governed by Cancer. So this is kind of like an opposite type placement. So he had some challenges there about believing who he was supposed to be. All right. But then once he believed that, he was like, well, this is how I'm going to make money, and this is how the world is going to see me. Because look at this. He has a positive aspect there, which is called a sextile between two elements that work well together. Fire and air work good together, and earth and water work good together. So he was able to believe in himself, transform his friendships that he had, right? Transform the relationships that he had in order to become the famous rock star that he was. Okay, there is the sextile there. Now, Leo is also being the king or the queen or the prince or the princess of your life. So he believed, 9th house, that he was the prince of darkness, because Pluto is the planet of darkness. It is the furthest planet out from our solar system, and it controls the collective because it spends about 14, 16 to 20 years in each astrological sign. So when he passed away, Pluto was in the opposite sign. Come on. Let's go. Pluto was in the opposite sign of Aquarius. So many of us have probably heard what we are in the age of Aquarius, or have heard that song. What that basically means is when we look up over in the horizon, and I believe that this is around the spring equinox, we should be able to see the constellation of Aquarius coming up over the horizon in the springtime. That is the age of Aquarius. And so a lot of these astrological ages, they take more than 20 years, okay? We're talking thousands of years. And so we are in a light age. And so Pluto is now just finished this transit going through Capricorn. So this is why we have seen a lot of government structures collapse. Okay. He definitely had a rebirth of his identity over the last 14 years. I mean, think about it, folks. When Pluto was here, he had the death and rebirth of his identity. He no longer, okay, was Black Sabbath. He became Ozzy Osbourne. So Ozzy Osbourne, right, after this transit, had to figure out, who do I want to be next? How is my legacy going to continue? His legacy continued by starting Ozfest. And so he was able to be a resource for a lot of people so that he could keep his name recognition here by helping other artists that were trying to step into what he had done for music, right? They wanted to have that same type of fame and fortune, or they wanted to make that same type of impact that he did. So he had a death and rebirth of his resources and his change. So over that part of his last, I would say, 30 years, that was the theme. And then once it hit this area, I feel like Pluto is calling back the Prince of Darkness home. Prince of Darkness home, 16 degrees is our home. The other thing I was going to tell you, on the astrological wheel, so we see that he has a stellium of planets in not only Capricorn, but he has a stellium of planets in Sagittarius as well. So he could have a Sagittarian-like business in this lifetime. Now, on the astrological wheel, the 10th house is governed by Capricorn, and the second house is governed by Taurus. So just kind of bear with me for a little bit, because I know that that doesn't say Capricorn up here, and I know that this doesn't say Taurus right here, but just bear with me. When you are born, you breathe in wherever these planets are. Okay, nobody has the same birth chart as you for another 25, I think, 1,000 years or 2,400 years, something like that. It's a long time. And so even though somebody might have the same birth time, I mean, it could be a few seconds off, or they could be born in another city, and that can make a difference. So the second house is what we value, and the 10th house is our career. Now, he valued having good habits. And because he was able to figure this out, he created his own heaven on earth. In astrology, each of these houses represent a different zodiac sign, and they also represent a different part, I feel, of the Lord's Prayer. And part of the Lord's Prayer is, Our Father at the top, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy name is the first house. Thy kingdom come. The kingdom is your second house. That is your heaven on earth. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but at the end, it said, deliver us from evil, for thine at the top is the thine, right? That is God. Having his true heaven on earth, stability, that is Taurus. So when we look at the 4 specific fixed signs in Christianity, we have Aquarius, which is fixed air, represented by the man and the mind. We have Taurus, which is what we value, our kingdom on earth, and that is represented by the bull. And then the next one is the lion, that is the sun, which is represented by Leo. And then the last house is represented by the snake, which is Scorpio. So he had his true heaven on earth. The heaven on earth is in the second house, because he's got a stellium of planets there. Look, he's got I have my heaven on earth. 4 is our home, our foundation. It is governed by the moon. And he has that at Jupiter, right? Jupiter is expanding all of this energy here, and how he emotionally connected to music, and how he was able to have his heaven on earth. He may have had some, Black Moon Lilith is the darkest part of the moon. So wherever we have Black Moon Lilith, that could be some challenges for us. There could be some challenges in how he communicated. 15 degrees is communicate in the home. Okay, so maybe Pisces is a very creative sign, but it also is deals with our subconscious and why we do the things that we do, and escapism. So he could have a tendency to escape in a Black Moon dark type way, or he could have a way of communicating which was Black Moon Lilith like maybe having heavy metal music. He was creative in making that dark music, because Pisces is the darkness. Pisces is the darkness. Pisces is one of the most creative signs that we have. So if you have a lot of planets in the 12th house, or if you have a lot of planets in Pisces, then you, or around Neptune, wherever that is, that could show your creative ability. So he also could have had some issues with not being able to be creative in the home. So he just stepped out in order to kind of do his own thing. But I just think that's pretty cool. And the fact that 15 is how we speak. And, you know, he did have Parkinson's there at the end of his life. And it was hard for him to speak. I mean, he mumbled a lot, right? And so his speaking, 15 degrees is our speaking, could have been challenged in a Black Moon Lilith type of way. I mean, who knows? Maybe it sounded like that from the way he treated his body for so long, right? But when he's saying, it didn't sound like that. It was only when he talked. So that's kind of cool. All right, if you got something out of this, make sure that you like this video. My name is Chrissy Smith, and this is 9 Lives Energy. In the description box below, you can find my information. Let me see if I can find it here for you. This was my video that I did the other week on the new moon, and we are getting ready to do a full moon video later on today before I head out of town on the full moon in Aquarius. So that is going to be all about community, and spending time with like-minded people this weekend will be good, and also maybe letting go of things which may be stepping out of your life, because something new is going to be coming in. And that something new probably is going to be with you maybe for the next 20 years. So if you've been thinking about quitting that habit, or starting that whatever it is, or leaving a relationship, now might be the time to kind of put some of those things in motion, so that the next 20 years don't have to be as bad if you had a lot of challenges over the last 15 years. So if you would like to get an appointment with me, you can message me at 9livesenergy@gmail.com, or you can message me on Instagram or TikTok. I'll be more than happy to set up an appointment with you. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a magical rest of your day. And if you have any other celebrities that you would like to have me dissect, let me know in the comments below, along with your favorite Ozzy song. All right, magical people, have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.